Iraqi Dinar Tier 4B claims. What the latest confirmed intel really means today, we are examining a claim that has been circulating among Iraqi Dinar, Vietnamese Dong, and Zimbabwe dollar followers. The claim says that something called the Tier 4B protocol is now officially in use, and that Iraq, Vietnam, and Zimbabwe are quietly participating in a major economic change outside public markets. The statement further suggests that the process is already operational, and that higher values for the IQD, VND, and ZM are no longer speculation but an established fact. That is a significant claim, but it is important to separate what is being reported by currency-related commentators from what has actually been confirmed through official financial institutions. At this time, claims about a secret or private Tier 4B currency system should be treated as unverified. There is no publicly established evidence from the Central Bank of Iraq, the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, or another recognized monetary authority confirming that a Tier 4B process is currently being used to revalue the Iraqi dinar. That distinction matters because currency markets operate according to identifiable mechanisms. Exchange rate changes, monetary policy decisions, banking regulations, foreign exchange interventions, and changes in currency denominations normally leave an official record. For Iraqi dinar followers, the most important information is therefore not whether an online source describes a private system as confirmed, but whether Iraq's recognized monetary authorities announce an actual policy change. The idea of Tier 4B has been discussed for years within online currency communities. Supporters often describe it as a special stage of a broader global financial transition, sometimes involving selected participants or private currency exchanges. However, descriptions of this system have varied considerably, and the terminology is not part of the standard public framework used by major international financial institutions to describe Iraq's exchange rate policy. So what does this latest statement actually tell us? First, it tells us that expectations surrounding the Iraqi dinar remain extremely strong among certain online communities. The language being used is highly confident, with phrases such as "the system is moving," "the quietness is on purpose," and "it is now a fact." But confidence in a statement is not the same thing as evidence. A financial analyst must look for independently verifiable information before treating such claims as an economic development. For Iraqi dinar followers, the most important question remains the official exchange rate policy of the Central Bank of Iraq. Iraq has an established monetary system, and changes to the value of the dinar would normally require meaningful policy decisions, market implementation, and communication through recognized channels. A major adjustment would also have implications for government finances, imports, inflation, banking operations, contracts, and the purchasing power of households. This is why the difference between a rumor and an official announcement is so important. If Iraq were to make a substantial change to the exchange rate, investors, businesses, banks, and government agencies would need to respond. Import prices could change. Government revenues and expenditures could be affected. The value of foreign currency holdings would change relative to the dinar. Banks would need to update their systems, accounting procedures, and customer transactions. International trade calculations could also be affected. In the short term, therefore, the biggest development to watch is not an unverified Tier 4B announcement, but any official communication from the Central Bank of Iraq regarding exchange rate policy, currency management, banking reform, or monetary conditions. There is also a broader economic issue behind the discussion. Iraq has been working to strengthen its banking sector and improve its integration with international financial standards. These reforms are important because a stable and trusted currency depends not only on the number printed on an exchange rate screen, but also on confidence in the banking system, payment infrastructure, financial regulation, reserves, fiscal management, and the broader economy. That means a stronger Iraqi dinar, if it occurs over time, would need to be understood in the context of Iraq's underlying economic fundamentals. Oil remains central to government finances, while diversification, private sector development, banking modernization, trade infrastructure, and fiscal discipline all influence long-term economic stability. Another issue that deserves attention is the difference between redenomination and revaluation. Currency communities sometimes use these terms interchangeably, but they are not the same thing. A redenomination can involve changing the numerical unit of a currency, such as removing zeros, while maintaining the underlying purchasing value. A genuine appreciation or revaluation, by contrast, changes the exchange relationship between the domestic currency and other currencies. This distinction becomes especially important whenever social media posts suggest that removing 3 zeros from Iraqi currency automatically means a massive increase in wealth. It does not work that way. If zeros are removed through a redenomination, prices, salaries, bank balances, and other monetary values would generally need to be converted accordingly. The headline number can change without creating an equivalent increase in real purchasing power. For the long-term outlook, Iraq's economic reform process is much more significant than any unverified internet protocol. If Iraqi banks become more transparent, if international compliance improves, if payment systems become more efficient, if foreign investment expands, and if fiscal and monetary management remain credible, those developments could strengthen confidence in Iraq's financial system. But none of those improvements automatically guarantees a particular future exchange rate. The same principle applies to the Vietnamese dong and Zimbabwe dollar. Claims that 3 different currencies are simultaneously participating in a secret international repricing process require strong evidence before they can be accepted as fact. Each country has its own central bank, monetary policy, economic structure, inflation conditions, exchange rate framework, and financial institutions. For viewers following the Iraqi dinar specifically, this means the smartest approach is to monitor official sources and measurable economic indicators rather than relying on predictions about secret exchange windows or guaranteed rates. In the short term, viewers should watch for formal statements from the Central Bank of Iraq, developments involving Iraq's banking sector, foreign exchange regulations, international banking connectivity, inflation data, government fiscal policy, and any officially announced changes to the exchange rate regime. These are the indicators that can provide meaningful evidence about the direction of monetary policy. There is another important point about the phrase outside public markets. Even when currencies are traded through private banking arrangements or institutional channels, that does not automatically mean a hidden exchange rate exists for ordinary currency holders. Financial institutions can have different transaction arrangements, but any claim of a special rate available to selected groups needs independent documentation before it can be treated as legitimate financial information. For viewers, this is where financial discipline becomes extremely important. Never make a major financial decision simply because someone online says a currency revaluation has been confirmed. Do not pay fees to individuals promising access to secret exchange programs, special redemption centers, privileged rates, or guaranteed returns. Legitimate monetary policy does not require ordinary people to rely on anonymous promises. The broader message from today's report is therefore one of cautious observation. The Tier 4B statement circulating online is certainly attracting attention, and it reflects continued expectations among currency followers that major changes could eventually occur. But at present, the claim itself should not be presented as official confirmation of an Iraqi dinar revaluation. The real story is happening in the areas that can be measured. Iraq's banking reforms, monetary policy, fiscal position, foreign exchange management, international financial relationships, and economic diversification. Those developments may not generate the same excitement as a dramatic revaluation headline, but they are far more important when evaluating the long-term strength and credibility of the Iraqi dinar. If a genuine exchange rate change is announced, it should come with identifiable details. We would want to know the new official rate, the effective date, the mechanism being used, how banks are instructed to process transactions, and what supporting monetary or fiscal policies accompany the decision. Those details are what separate a real financial development from speculation. So, for Iraqi dinar followers, the key takeaway today is simple. The Tier 4B claim is circulating, but circulation should not be confused with official confirmation. Until recognized Iraqi or international financial authorities provide verifiable evidence, the responsible position is to treat the story as an unverified claim rather than a completed currency event. At the same time, that does not mean Iraq's economic story should be ignored. The country continues to have significant economic potential, substantial natural resources, and an important position in the regional economy. Continued banking modernization, stronger financial compliance, improved investment conditions, and responsible fiscal and monetary policy could all contribute to greater economic stability over the long term. The future value of the Iraqi dinar will ultimately depend on economic fundamentals and policy decisions, not simply on online predictions. We will continue to monitor official developments and separate confirmed information from speculation, so you can make sense of what is actually happening in Iraq's economy and currency system. Thank you for watching Iraqi Dinar News. If you found this analysis useful, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video for responsible and factual Iraqi Dinar updates. Remember, this content is provided for informational and educational purposes only and should not be considered financial advice. Always conduct your own research and consult a qualified financial professional before making financial decisions.